Well, I got interrupted by a phone call, and that shut my video. It stopped recording when I hung up on the phone call. So this other person says, what a journey. We are on a battlefield that is clearly meant to be within ourselves, as noted by the fact that both sides are of the same clan. So it's a civil war. The sides of ourselves have attributes, which I am sure are alluded to by the names of the fighters being listed out on both sides, likely known to those deeply familiar with Sanskrit, especially those living in the last centuries BC. Maybe even through the symbolism of the weapons that are named. The attributes within ourselves from all sides make a confused clang. Note, possibly the word confused here instead of confusing is meant to place us in a perspective where the noise is part of us. It is personified. Confused. If the battle cries in clashing of weapons were confusing, they would be acting on the warriors. But if the clang itself is confused, then it is an agent of the battle, not just having an impact on its participants. We are the noise. A confused clang. Interesting. So to be able to win in the battlefield or whatever, we must understand and have empathy for the whole of us and not look to just vanquish the other from the perspective of only one side of ourselves. To understand the fullness of us, we must step outside our normal vantage point, from within one aspect of ourselves, maybe even step outside of ourselves, so we can see and know the fullness of our predicament, so that the clamor of each of our aspects reaches us in full, and even stereo, if you will. Thus, we must position ourselves in the center of the battle, not fully on one side or another, but to get even to that point of being able to see ourselves in our fullness, of fully understanding even the battlefield we are on and the warriors that are aspects of us on all sides. We must evoke the Guru to place us there. For going through our normal self, we will end up with vantage from one position or another, and our view will be colored through that veil. Note, I believe those advanced in the teachings will recognize that while an actual guru can play the role of helping place us where we can see all aspects of ourselves that are contributing to struggle, we can in fact evoke the perspective of the absolute that already resides within us to gain that perspective. This can be done through various practices and or with the aid of psychedelic substances to locate our perspective on the battlefield to one that can position us to transcend the battlefield itself. But it must be done with intent and action. However, those advanced in the teachings will also understand that without a wise accountability buddy, it is dangerously easy not only fail, to not only fail, but to end up thinking we are succeeding, and yet build an even stronger ego around a seeker, knower, identity, or some other illusory self. In fact, those who believe they have the certainty of a divine view will often place the divine within themselves and not see it in others. And those can become some of the most dangerous people in history. Examples at all scales exist, from a neighborhood bully to the Trumps and Putins of the world. Where does this analysis leave me? With the tendency to say to myself, see, you understand this teaching so well. You are doing the work. Good job. How insightful of you. Nothing further is needed to get where you are trying to go. You can go back to regularly scheduled errand programming now and feel accomplished. Or at least that character is one of the shouting warriors on my battlefield, who I can easily inhabit and stay on that horizontal plane. So how to position myself for a transcendent journey off of that plane so I can be seen in full perspective and incorporate it into a more harmonious and healthy existence. How to truly position my perspective in a place to see and hear all with evenness, so that it is even possible for an inner or external guru to help me. Yet to be seen. I suspect or trust or deeply hope that chapter 2 will help with that question. Well said. This is very good, Aaron. But you're right. A journey of 1,000 miles only begins with the first step. It's a particularly valuable step, but there are a lot more ahead, including leaps over streams and rocky gullies, scrambling over down trees and rockfalls, dacoits along the way, wild animals, the unexpected. So pat yourself on the back. Cinch up your belt and prepare to head out. If you find yourself with lots of extra time, Aaron, I have a document with Nitya's description of many of the names in the war. I recommend concentrating instead on where we go from here. The war setting is from the epic, and the Gita is an insertion with its own parameters. For the meantime, I'll give you one example. The world is your teacher. The world is your Veda. Everything in the world is making you know, and it teaches you. Thus, you are taught by Drona, where Drona means you get knowledge, but you use the knowledge for the wrong purpose. So this is a peculiar teacher who gives tremendous knowledge, great knowledge, but the knowledge is usually used for a wrong purpose. The confused clang is confusing, but the word meant is confused. Everyone's instrument is being played from their personal selfish stance, so they are not connected to each other. And the sound expressed interfere with each other. It is the very definition of noise, of confusion. If you try to abstract meaning from the noise, you will be confused. This is artfully contrasted with Arjuna and Krishna playing harmoniously. They are on the same page, paying attention to each other. So the sound is sweet. It has meaning, and this contrast slyly introduces where we're going. Genius. You express this well, Aaron. I'm only clarifying Guess's choice of words. Or perhaps Nataraja Guru's, since he made the English translation. We don't quite have a guru person in this class, but we have a work of surpassing excellence to play that role, and a teacher familiar enough with it to make connections with the writing. Okay. Of a few erudite expositors, those who have persevered, and found it exceptionally transformative, helping them remove substantial ignorance. It's actually a neat arrangement. Remove substantial ignorance. That's what is it? Revealing to say the word remove substantial ignorance. Removing ignorance. Because it seems that the word ignorance I'd have to look at the definition of the word ignorance, but ignorance in this case could be thought of as knowledge that causes remaining in the lower realms, knowledge that weighs us down. How's that? Anyway, So we might think, what is it? Common sense would say that ignorance would be lack of knowledge, but in this case, ignorance is a kind of knowledge that is weighing us down, that is keeping us down, that is causing us to stay in a lower vibration, you could say. Okay. It is actually a neat arrangement, very humble, protecting us from getting egomaniacal about anything. As Nitya says towards the end of his Gita commentary, egos will burst naturally when once they ripen. No. Okay, so this one's interesting. This last part. Egos will burst naturally once they ripen. Let's see. Okay. I'm checking my messages on Facebook. Okay. Anyway, I guess that's enough for now. So I hope this helps. Well, I'm not even finished with the email, because it's like I've only gotten through like 20% of it. There's a lot there. I guess what I could do is let me go to the top of the email and let it run through with
helping them remove substantial ignorance.
Oh. No, that's where I was at before. Hold on. The Gita.
Chapter 1, Arjuna Vishada Yoga, verses 1 to 23. Thank you for your good wishes. My back operation was a partial success. I have to be careful for another month, but am able to do gentle exercises like moderate.
Maybe I should change the voice to a male. There. Because it's a man talking. It's not the Gita. It's the teacher, you could say, that's guiding students through the Gita. So we're in the chapter 1, verse 1 through verse 23, but we're discussing those verses. We're not reading them.
Reading the class.
Yoga, verses 1 to 23. Thank you for your good wishes. My back operation was a partial success.
There's the teacher.
I have to be careful for another month, but I'm able to do gentle exercises, like moderating the class. Thank everyone for such rich responses. It's been a joy working through them. They are all worth reading if you have the time. Truth is like a diamond, having many facets. I spread ideas throughout the text, in hopes you'll come across them. We will learn from all of us. Here are a few ideas of a general nature, applying to all of your responses. Choosing unilaterally between good and evil, or right and wrong, seems simple enough at first, yet it does not fully accord with the unitive vision taught by the Bhagavad Gita. Lesson 3 will bring this home. For now, the stage is set. We end the lesson with Arjuna resolved to examine both sides of the battle, which is the very first step in bringing non-dual wisdom into play. Right away he sees the other side consists of exemplary people just like his side. It calls into question all the simple answers he has been taught before. Spoiler alert, the Gita is not about deciding between right and wrong, it's using their intersecting conflict to expand consciousness, and to become all-inclusive. The ground for making distinctions in our actions has to be global. Universal. We will be going beyond being on the right side of a war to transcending it entirely.
The Gita is not about deciding between right and wrong. It is using their intersecting conflict to expand consciousness and to become all-inclusive. Interesting. So, what's the word? Does that imply that there is no right or wrong? No absolute right or wrong. That, like in Hamlet, I believe, well, I'm not a Shakespearean reader, but one quote that caught my attention, it comes from Shakespeare. It's probably from Hamlet, where it says, there is neither good or evil, only thinking makes it so. Something like that. So I've pondered about that saying for a while over the years. I think it caught my attention very early on, so I thought about it, so that there's neither good or evil, good or bad, only thinking makes it so. So we think and we decide what is good and what is evil. So that goes in line with the Buddhist idea of impermanence, dukkha, dependent origination. The 12 links of dependent origination, the interconnectedness of everything, and the emptiness of everything, of all things individually. Each thing does not have an inherent existence of its own. It depends on everything else to exist. So then applying emptiness to good or bad, you could say that there is no good or bad inherently. Nothing is inherently good or evil. Right? Nothing is inherently right or wrong. Right? Only thinking makes it so. So when we think about it, we decide what's it gonna be. And why do we do that? So that we can make a decision about whether to do this or that. And so I read something interesting some time ago. It caught my attention and made me say, wow. It went something like this. It said that Mahatma Gandhi was a great follower or student of the Bhagavad Gita, and so was his assassin. His assassin was a great, well, I wouldn't say great, but he followed the Bhagavad Gita, or he was a student of the Bhagavad Gita, and it influenced his life. To what degree and how did it influence his life? To the point that it had him murder Mahatma Gandhi. Can I say that? Should I research if that is true? But the point is that even a text such as the Gita can be used to make seemingly different decisions. Or that's what I tried to get from that story. That the Gita itself is neither good or evil, but thinking it one way or the other makes it so. Okay, so let's go inside. Okay. So I'm going to say goodbye. I guess I could let the artificial intelligent text to audio voice read the email that's pretty long. I only got through 20% of it. It's got a lot of good stuff in it. But instead, I will stop now because I've already done at least an hour of this this episode of me studying the Gita. But I was studying it in a class, in a correspondence course kind of situation, where students reply, and so I listened to I read from the teacher's reply as to what the teacher got from all the students, and one of the students replied, and very thoughtfully. So there's more students to listen to, but for now I gotta stop and go inside. So thank you for listening, and I hope you come back to listen for more.